name is Joseph. I'm a researcher with the Rift Valley Institute in South Sudan and have been involved in the XCEPT program from the start. It impacted several ways, but mainly in two main ways. One thing is the XCEPT training introduced me to writing, and that's the start of my interest in writing. Another way is also, in addition to the training, the Rift Valley Institute also made a repository where it put in the literature and where we can have access to other studies on the borderland in other places and also in South Sudan, because access to such material in South Sudan is quite rare. And then I read quite a lot about the stuff on migration, on labor exploitation, on conflict and displacement between South Sudan and Sudan. And then also we conducted the two studies, and the two studies look at the impact of generational changes driven by war, displacement, and labor migration on the lives of people on the borderland. And so one of these was focusing on contemporary impact on labor, and another one on migration. And then I picked interest in labor, and when we conduct a good stuff on looking at women struggling to feed their kids and so forth, and their ability to migrate or whether do some work to survive. And I said I need to explore this deeper into history and see the drivers of the drivers of the current changes, of the current impacts in the livelihood. And this is where my interest began. And I could not make this alone, because it's also in the way the XCEPT is being implemented, which give freedom to early career researchers to decide the themes of interest so long as it falls in the scope of the XCEPT program. And so I found the cross-border labor migration, exploitation, the militarization of the borderland, all aligned to the overall XCEPT program. And so, given that it's also my area of interest, so I began to explore this further in my work. It's also about bringing local researchers and international researchers to interact and understand what they are interested in, and then create a link where they can reach out to each other for support. And the repository, I said, does not provide all the material we needed. I have interacted with several other researchers, which I met through this training and also methodology training, to ask for material and also other guidance. Other mentors who have also been so important, like Eddie, which RBI engaged some time back, and many other researchers who work in East Africa and also in Middle East. So I think the methodology training's overall goal is not the thing we learn there, but the biggest thing there is the network it created, and which is a lasting thing here. One of the biggest values is the knowledge that's produced at locally ground, and it's setting a foundation where local network, local knowledge is now coming to the forefront, and to make sense to the policymaker that this is something we need to capitalize on. Another thing is the link it created between researchers. Like after years of my engagement in XCEPT, we also organized other smaller training within XCEPT, where we engaged other university graduates into the training, and who came from different parts of South Sudan, which extended the Rift Valley Institute's reach to areas that can be harder for non-South Sudanese to go to. And this network is now strong, it's survival, and I think that's important for two reasons. One thing, it's cost effective. RBI can able to assess different places with lesser cost, and this area also pose some danger for international researchers, and so sending them there as to be offensive, it also come with the risks of them getting involved in other problems. Another thing is also training these fresh university graduates, because most of these the universities in South Sudan taught the students to memorize text, but not to get engaged in critical writing and argument. And these courses are encouraging the student to read, understand, and then try to make their own argument. And I think that's also extending the capacity building to people who are aspiring to become future researchers. And this is really good. And I think this is not something RBI in South Sudan, this is not something only RBI benefit for. Even other researchers who are not part of RBI can have access to rural areas through this network RBI has created and built for this year. It has been funded by the XCEPT program. So, and I think this is a huge advantage on the part of XCEPT, not connecting local researchers with international, and also building local capacities in areas that could be harder to assess by others, so that they can easily be assessed.